Welcome back. Thanks for joining me today on Homeschool Break Room Live. Every week we gather 3 p.m. on Thursdays, new day, same time, and chit chat. We share recipes, mom stuff, resources, topics. Sometimes today we will be chatting about habits for your homeschool. But before we get into that, I wanted to do just one announcement, and that is a resource that's a mini food pledge course, I guess you would call it, from the 100 Days of Real Food blog. And if you don't know this blog, I started following her, years ago, maybe 7 or 8, and the origination of her blog was that she was going for 100 days without any kind of artificial food. Welcome, Melissa. I was just sharing about a little course, 6-week challenge course that I think others would be interested in from the 100 Days of Real Food blog. And what I like about this course is, 1, it's 6 weeks long. 2, every week she focuses on a new challenge. So week 1 is more fruits and veggies. Week 2 is no fast food or deep fried food. Week 3 is nothing artificial. Week 4 is no refined sweeteners. Week 5 is the 5 ingredient rule. And week 6, 100% whole grains. Now, so those are the topics for each week. But what I really like about the way she does this is that week 1, that's all you're focusing on. Week 2, you're only focusing on whatever I just said for week 2, no fast food. So you're not doing week 1 and week 2. And week 3, you're not doing 1, 2, and 3. You're only focusing on that one change each week. She does it through an email and video, or I should say, when she did it before, it was email and video. I don't know what she's doing this time around. And then there was a Facebook group for it. It's really reasonably priced. Let me double check. It's $24 if you sign up this week, and the next one starts next week on Monday. And then after that, it goes up to $35. And I did this one, I don't even remember what year, several years ago, and I really enjoyed it, maybe 4 or 5. I think it was when we were in Indiana. So that would be, maybe 5 years ago. No, it was when we first moved here 4 years ago. I really enjoyed it. And it was a good way to just focus on small changes. Like the idea behind the course was that you're not focusing on like a complete revamp of your family's diet. You're just focusing on the little changes that over time amount to more. And so the link for it, I just posted. It's not a referral link. I'm not getting any money from it. I just think it's a really good course, and I am really considering doing it again. So if you want more information about the challenge, check out the link down. I'll put it if you're viewing later, I will leave the link down there for you. And feel free to ask me questions if you want. But like I said, it's $24 through, I think it's through the weekend, and then the course starts next week. So, or the first one, I think last time she ran it like 4 or 5 back-to-back times. So that's that. Now, on to today's topic. Before that, I always enjoy asking people what they're having for dinner tonight. So let me know what's for dinner tonight. We are, I posted earlier in the week, Tuesday, that a new recipe we were trying, which turned out to be really good. I posted it over on Facebook. My family enjoyed it. So if you want a new recipe. But I posted that night that it was the 3rd night of the week, and I hadn't yet made what was on the menu plan. Last night I did. Today I opened up to see what was on the menu plan and found out that I had skipped planning. So another night that wasn't planned, or what we're having isn't what I planned. Um, but I had some teriyaki sauce that I had made and put into the freezer. So I'm gonna do just chicken teriyaki and brown rice and some veggies. Um, Teriyaki sauce is something that freezes really well. So I always make a double or triple batch of it every time I make the recipe so that I can put a couple jars, and I just store them in mason jars, the wide mouth ones that are safe for the freezer. And then I could put them in there, throw them in the freezer, and then I have super easy dinner another night. So, um, chicken teriyaki is what's for dinner tonight. I'd love to know what you're having. Um, as for the topic of the week, so it's been one of those weeks, and I sat down today and realized that I hadn't posted anything about today's live on Facebook, and I hadn't even really given consideration to what we were talking about. So that led me to realize that habits, and in this case, my lack of follow through on my habits, would be a really good topic. Um, and in fact, it, the video that I hope to have out on Saturday will also be kind of a habit type video as well. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But habits specifically with homeschool. So, there was the books that were like the 7 habits of the highly successful, whatever. And I'm not like that kind of a believer, but I do think there are value in habits and in writing down your habits. There's been many studies that show that if you have a goal or schedule, if you write it down rather than just keeping it mentally, you are more likely to have success. And I think so that's my first thing about this. Whatever habit or habits you want to build in your homeschool, specifically, writing them down and writing down what steps you need to do, it would be really good. So, I've heard like 21 days to make or break a habit, and I don't know if that's really true, but writing down, on your calendar or your to-do list or wherever, setting a reminder on your smart device or whatever to check, remind yourself to make sure that the habit has been done is helpful to me. So one habit that I think is important for homeschoolers, and this is going to look different, whatever your family thing is, but that habit of starting school on time each day, whatever on time looks like for you. If you don't do it at a set time, but it's always after whatever in the morning, whatever, keeping that habit up is, to me, one of the hardest things to do when my kids were young, because they were playing or whatever, and I'm like, well, I don't want to start, which is fine when they were little, but then there are times when it would get harder and harder for me, and then I would get distracted, and then it might be 10 or 11 o'clock and we haven't done anything, and then the day spirals from there. So for our family this year, it looks like roughly 8:30ish in the morning we start. And there's some leeway in that. But just getting started ensures that we're actually going to get something done that day. If I don't keep that habit of a start time, then it's really easy for me to say, like, well, it's 10:30. We might as well not do it because it'll be lunchtime soon. And then after lunch, I'm like, oh, we've already lost the day. Might as well just take the day off. Well, occasionally that's okay, but for me, that quickly becomes a habit. And that's not the habit that I want to break. So, a good start time in your day, I think, is vital, whatever that looks like for your family. Next one that has been really hard but good for us this year, but super easy last year, was with our library schedule. So last year we had an easy routine with going to the library every week. We had a couple appointments every Tuesday afternoon, and then right after that we would go do the library, and then we would hit Sonic on the way home for drinks or ice cream, and then that was that. However, now that our library remains closed, it's become harder because we're not going to pick out books. We're always waiting for books to be put on hold. So what I have every Friday on my son's schedule is to put books on hold for himself. Um, for myself, I do it on Fridays as well for our homeschool. I think that's really helpful so that we're always having books on hold, and then finding that time, whatever it can work in your schedule, that you go to pick up books, even if not everything is in yet. But keeping that habit up, if you have kids who are big readers, I should say, I think is just really helpful, um, because it keeps you in the habit of books, and two, it helps if you have a set day that you're always putting books on hold, another set day that you're picking up books, then it's harder to be like, well, we can't start this, whatever this study is, because the books aren't in yet. And so we'll just keep waiting. Well, go ahead and get started. You know the books are going to be in soon. You know that you'll be at the library soon. And so for me, building that habit has been really good. And I would say we end up reading more since we've developed that habit, including in the homeschool. I'm more apt to include things in our history and science and such now that we've built this habit. Welcome to those of you who are joining us. We are chatting about homeschool habits that are habits to help us find some success, whatever that looks like in your homeschool. I would love to know what habits what habits you do in your homeschool day that help you to have success. Whatever success looks like in your homeschool. I am not trying to define it in any certain way, but yeah, I'd love to know what you do. Number 3, intentional play. Whether this is outside play, whether it's educational games, whether it's just board games or video games, being intentional about having fun, I think, is important, because too many homeschoolers get caught up in this idea of everything has to be educational, right? You know the types, or you've seen them on the Facebook groups or whatever. And it's like, I'm going to the zoo. I need a scavenger hunt, or I need a unit study or whatever. Sometimes those are great, but sometimes we should just have fun for the sake of having fun. Yeah, and I mean, I've done it times as well, but it's really easy with homeschoolers to get into this mindset that everything has to be educational, because education is life and homeschool is life and your life is your homeschool and all of that, which is true, but sometimes it's just about having fun. And you might learn things or you might not, but it's just fun. And so being purposeful about getting outside at lunchtime and running around, or going to the park and kicking the soccer ball, or playing Trouble every day at lunchtime, which is what my kids have been doing, and I hate that game. I hate the sound of that pop and bubble. But just being purposeful about making sure that you're having fun through play for the sake of play. for now, but also I think for life. Today, I saw someone post on Facebook about how we've kind of lost the art in some ways of hobbies, in that everything has kind of become like a side hustle type of thing. Like, if you knit, people want you to sell. If you, or just whatever, if you're interested in something, like you, there's that temptation to make it into a business or whatever. And in the same way, take like I'm starting a painting class in a couple of weeks, through like Bob Ross style of painting, and I'm really excited about it. But I had to really reason to myself that like I felt like, but I should I be taking these 4 hours one evening a week to do it when I could be home cleaning or doing this or doing that? I'm like, no, it's okay to just make this fun and just take this time and not worry about it, what I could be doing that's more efficient or more productive or whatever. So, in that same kind of vein, like being intentional about just having fun and just doing things just to enjoy them and not worrying about what else it needs to be. Side tangent that her post made me think of today. All kind of converged in the world. Number 4, and this is a do as I say, not as I do. Grading. Now, I will say we do not grade in elementary or middle school. I can't see it, but I put it away. We have the only thing that I really grade when the kids are younger, like math we do together and we teach it to mastery. We use Beast Academy with my boys. This is one of the only things that needs checked. I absolutely love the series. I'm pretty sure I have a video about it. It's a fantastic, just open and go, like geography skills type of class or type of book. Each grade level has a different focus, and I really love it. But yeah, this is one of the few things that I check. I have my kids do one of these every year. I was doing right before I started today. So this is one of the few things. But building up that habit of a grading time. So for me, high school is the only time we do grades. And I like to, in theory, grade on Fridays. Now, right now, I don't have a lot to grade because my daughter, most of her classes are outsourced this year. But whatever it is, building up that habit is so important, because you will get to the point, most likely with high school, that you are going to have more grading to do and it's going to become hard. So if you have, when your kids are in elementary and middle school, the habit of like, if they are completing work that you need to check whether or not you actually grade it or not, learning to develop a system where they have a specific spot to put things and you have a specific time that you do that, whether it's while you watch TV in the evening or when you're done with your schoolwork or over lunch, whatever it is, save it all till Fridays, whatever. But this is a great time to play around and figure out what's actually going to work for you in the moment, realizing that it may change, but try things out and see what's working for you. That is roughly what we do as well, our timing. my boys in the morning they're usually up by 7 and they can do breakfast, get dressed, get ready. They have some screen time in the morning. And then we start 9 o'clock is when we used to always start. And then this year I added some things. They really wanted to have CNN 10 every day and some morning time basket stuff. So we switched kind of more towards 8:30, and that's working for us for now. Um, and then, but 1ish or so is when we finish too. I find it to be a pretty good amount of time that I don't feel like everything is homeschool, but enough time that we get everything done generally that we need to do. Um, yes, a peaceful morning is all I need. I am not a morning person at all, and as a military family, my husband's out the door before 5:30ish every morning, and I have just never adjusted to it. My children, my boys are well, all my kids were when they were younger, but my daughter isn't such a morning person anymore. But um, yeah, I for me, some people think that's an awfully late time to work to start, but a slow morning, I teach in the morning online, and then I can have my coffee in peace, make calls, etc., whatever I need to do before we get our day going. And then I don't feel like I have so many things like hanging over my head of everything I need to do later. I think it works. It's a good schedule for us. Um, and so my last tip, my last habit, um, that I listen. There's a lot more that I could say about this, and I was actually thinking about making a different, like a kind of a email series or something to go with this. Anyway, but the last topic or last habit that I'm going to talk about for now is one that I think does not get enough attention, and it's the habit of letting things go when they're not working, or putting things aside when they're not working and coming back to it. We, and I say we, I know not everyone, but I know enough others feel this way as well, so I'm going to use that word. Um, we often think that, like, this is what we chose, we spent money on this is what we're going to do. And sometimes that works out really well, and sometimes it doesn't. And your kid, for whatever reason, is not getting it, or it's not working. It's okay to just let things go for a bit. My daughter, when I first tried to introduce cursive to her, she could not get it. She was trying so hard, but it just wasn't working. And so someone had just kind of beaten that into my head on a different topic. And I thought, you know what, let's do it. So I put cursive aside, and 3 months later, I came back to it, and she blew through it. Now, it didn't stick because I didn't make it stick. Cursive is not her strong suit now, but as far as like learning it, yeah, she just needed some more time. My youngest kiddo was really struggling with a section in math, and I was determined that he was going to get it. This was just back in November. It just felt like he should be able to do it. Well, it wasn't happening. So after a week or so of both of us reaching our point of no return, I said, let's just skip this section and we'll come back to it. Now we use Beast, so each section is a topic, so it didn't carry over. So in this case, it was easy to do. When we finish this section, we're going to go back to it and see if it goes better. And if he's still not ready, we'll keep going and we'll try it again. And that's okay. It is so okay. And you know, sometimes there are good reasons to keep pushing through things. I say this often. Like sometimes you just have to push through. Other times you just have to let go. And I know that can be really hard if, for example, you spend money on an expensive curriculum and it's not working for your family. Of course, there are ways, in that case to try to make it work for your family, but sometimes it's just not going to. And no matter what you do, it's just going to be a terrible fit. So you have the choice of everyone being miserable or doing what you can to try to recoup your fees on it, your cost on it, and finding something that's a better fit. Yes, you've lost some time, and yes, you'll have lost some money, but you've also gained experience and you've gained in your relationship. You've gained in that sense of peace in your homeschool. And there is nothing that's more important than the peace in the relationships. There's nothing. The more I homeschool, the more I realize that, yes, I want my kids to be successful and to be able to go into college or whatever they choose, ready to succeed with the skills they need. But if they don't come out of high school having, I don't know, some random skill, if they can't switch between decimals and fractions very easily, but I've saved a relationship, they'll figure it out. My middle kiddo cannot memorize the multiplication table to save his life. He can find any answer, but he can't memorize them quickly. So rather than forcing that, I printed a chart for him. He has in this world, like he just has that. Um, you know, need a calculator? You got one right here. Need a calculator? You may even have it on your watch. He's got the skills. He can do it. He can find the answer, just not super quickly. And that's okay. Him ending up in tears during math is not worth it to me when I could just give him a multiplication chart. He can quickly find his answers on there. He can pull them out of his head. He can get there, that's fine. But if our relationship is severed because I've dug in my heels that he is going to be able to complete a multiplication times test, 100 problems in 3 minutes with 100% success, what's that done? And why is that more important than our relationship and his mental health and my mental health? I could go on and on. It would definitely be a soapbox topic for me. In part because I've seen the damage it's done in my own home when I've not put relationship first, and when I've not put my kiddos but I've not put us first. Our homeschool is about so much more than what work I can say they've done at the end of the year. At that point, that's just bragging rights. And that's not important. But if I can laugh with my kiddo who hates math, and we can, as much as we can, enjoy that time together, and he knows that when we are doing math, that I am there to support him, and that I'll be there to support him in other hard things, that's irreplaceable. That is invaluable. And that is invaluable to your kids and to you. So don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of that with the goal of marking off the boxes and checking them and fitting into whatever stereotypes that you think you need to have or that you are supposed to meet because you're a homeschool family or what. That's not what it is. That's not what life is at the end of it all. That's not what's important. I read once that as an adult, let's say you made it somehow to adulthood and never learned anything in school, barring any learning challenges, you could theoretically learn 12 years worth of school in about 4 years. That's like learning your letters, numbers, all of that. I don't know if that's true, but let's just say that that's true. The idea being that as an adult, it's easier for you to learn those things that you didn't know at a younger age for a couple of reasons. One, you're older and you've got more learning facilities. And two, if you're learning it at that point, you're probably doing it for a reason. You're motivated. So take that and apply that to your kids. If you never teach them fractions, if they need fractions for a job, they're going to be able to figure it out. If you've taught other things, they're going to be fine. They will get there. But if they've never learned that there's other skills, the skills of like coming back to it or learning when to say enough or learning who is important in their lives and those things, well, that's a lot harder to master when you're older. And yeah, that's that. So those are some homeschool habits I think are important. And I would love to know what habits you think are important. And I would really love to know what a habit that you would like to build this year for yourself and for your homeschool. For us, one that this school year, I've been trying to really work on more, and it's a tough one for me in some ways, is the habit of not worrying, not necessarily meeting all of the boxes each day, which is kind of a backwards habit. I'm not trying to develop I'm not trying to develop the habit of making sure everything gets done each day. I'm trying to develop the habit of like being okay with things not getting done each day and making it look different each day. We may not do writing every day, but if we are reading more or that kind of thing, then there's that. For me personally, I've talked about put up a video, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago about intentions for the year. One of them being working on my daily habit thing, like a schedule, being more intentional about my days. And that, we're only 14 days into this year that's already felt like 5. And so far, it's going well. One of the changes that I've made is that, so where we live, we have a drive any place we want to go, 20, 30 minutes. And so I would see on my calendar that this activity, we have to be at church at 4:30. But in my mind, I didn't take it all the way back. I needed to, I changed my calendar to what time we need to leave and what time we actually get home so that I can better see that like this whole chunk of time is gone for me. I need to do my other things not during that chunk of time. And so, like I said, we're only 2 weeks into this year, horrid year already, but it's going well so far. We'll see if that continues to help. It's just made me better allocate my time at home with that. So that's um, that. Reading your Bible every day. Bible recap plan. I don't know if that one is that a YouTube channel. Something kind of along that line that I have been. Again, we're only 2 weeks into the year. Is this book? This just speaks to me. It's a daily. I don't want to call it a devotional because it's not biblical, and that's what I tend to think of with that word. But it's just a little. Each day there's a little quote and then a little story. This is by Hoda. I don't know how to say her last name, but she's on NBC's this morning. Anyway, I've been keeping this at my desk, and I really like starting our school days with one of these. They're just a one-page, little half-page thing. It's quick, it's easy, and yeah, I really like it. It's a good way for me to start my day. Yeah, there are other habits that I'm hoping to do kind of a series this year about the habits that I'm building and how I'm doing it, but I'm not ready to share yet. So keep those in mind, or keep eye out for it, because I do think it's important to see success and failures in other people as they're building habits, and as you make changes. So often we see people they'll say, well, this is what I'm doing, and like before that you make a change, and then you never hear any update from them, or you see like the end result but don't see the mess along the way. And I don't want that to be me. I just need to figure out a way how to do it in a way that feels. I don't like being vulnerable. Essentially, is what that means, and I need to figure out a way to do it and be okay with what I share. So that's that. I will, Melissa, try to find that link and put it down there if anyone else wants to do it. I like to have the Bible app on here. Send me the daily message or the daily verse, and then I do readings. I try to do them every day. I don't always, but it sounds like a good site. I thought I'll take a look at it. A game every day. I think that's an excellent one, and it goes right along with the habit that I had mentioned. It's not a two-person game, but if your family enjoys games, we got Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, I think is what it's called, for Christmas, and it is a fun game, quick-paced, little card game, and yeah, I think it's a fun game. So that, I think I'm going to end there. Speaking of on my habits, I have my calendar, my 4 o'clock. Okay, I need to go do some cleaning. On Thursdays, I like to do. I've got several cleaning things that I like to do, that kind of set us up for the weekend, so I can pretend that Fridays are the weekend. So I am going. Your library was giving out that game. That is awesome. I need your library. I think that would be awesome. There's a Christmas version of it I just saw, and so I'm excited to get that and put it aside for next year. So I'm going to head off. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, I am going to try and put out a video on Saturday. My goal this year is to move back to 2 videos a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays. I used to, for the first maybe 3 years or so on my channel, I was consistent, pretty consistent about every Tuesday, Thursday. And then it just became too much. But I'm going to try and get back into that. So look for a video on Saturday. Next week, I am talking about high school in next week's videos. Yes, high school. So look for those. And I will see you live next Thursday afternoon. Bye.